So you do know camera.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, we are back here on the light with Freeman Tyler, and in honor of the memory of Ashada Shakur, I decided to start off on kind of a revolutionary tip, or at least a tip to that generation, or tip of the hat to that generation. Started off with Gil Scott-Heron's "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," poem that changed my life as a writer. Followed that with Ego Tripping, not the version I wanted, but still, Nikki Giovanni. And I used that particular poem to teach poetry to younger kids. And then we ended off with Sonny Patterson, Letter from the Porch. And with some of the people in the older generations, it's hard to pick a poem because they curse more than we do. But yes, Ashada Shakur is now an ancestor, and her life actually, reading about her and what she did and how she sacrificed and the move she made definitely changed my life. So let's get on with the light today. I am here live in the studio with my good friend Naila Madison, and 30 years ago, if you were here a couple weeks ago, we talked about this with Poetica, but 30 years ago, Naila, myself, Oscar Castro, Stephanie Renee, I want to say Kamau.
I think so.
Kamau, who am I forgetting? Jill Scott. Who else am I forgetting? Yolanda Wisher. Trapita Mason.
I think Rich is in it also.
Rich Medina, definitely in it. We all contributed to a book called Panoramic Poetry. We were all brought together for that project by Lamar Red Cross from the October Art Gallery. And so today we are here to discuss our involvement with it, with that particular project, with Panoramic Poetry, which I'm working on a reunion. And so we'll talk about a bunch of stuff, whatever comes up. So how are you, Naila?
I'm good. It's crazy to think about something like I did 30 years ago. I mean, I was 19. 30 years ago, I was 19, which is, like what do 19-year-olds do nowadays? Are my levels okay? I should have put on the headphones. Am I good?
Oh wait, let's try this. Try it now.
Am I good?
Oh, you're good now.
Okay. Yeah, to think about, that was 30 years ago. 30 years ago I was 19. I was like, wow, 19, and now I have a son that's 25, so it's like, wow. Like what do 19-year-olds even do these days? Like, I don't know that they have the options we did, and of course, rest in power to Assata Shakur. And I was probably 18 or 19 when I ran across her, and read that
Did you
book.
catch her when she snuck back in the States, or when you first found out about her struggle?
When I first found out about her struggle,
Okay.
I probably read the book at about 18 or 19. And all that as a poet, I mean, all that's an influence. That would be the equivalent of Gen Z now, and they're angry leaders. They're like, y'all been lying to us all this time. Let us take the ropes and lead. And I know that's what I would have felt at 18, 19. I'm sure, I don't remember what poem is in the Panoramic book, but I'm sure from that age it would have been something on the more revolutionary side of things. I mean, that's what you're feeling. You're like,
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, it's also the same as the revolution will not be televised. It's like when you listen to any of the Last Poet stuff, and that was like 50, 60 years ago, you're like, why are we still here? You know, and that gets me frustrating. Also, like, why are we still in these cycles? You know.
Right. Which I went through a phase where I started to write poems about how poems aren't changing anything.
Yeah.
And how, I wrote my poets are BS, or some poets are BS. Because here's the thing. As much as I love poetry, much as I love poets, and I think this is something I was saying 30 years ago, if they don't know your name at the school down the street from where you live, or, well, like, you should be involved in your community. And correct me if I'm wrong, poetry should be more than a way for you to pick up girls or pick up guys or say you did something this weekend.
I mean, but I think that's like October Gallery with Panoramic. You know, that mid 90s, that mid to late 90s time. I think I did when I was posting about me being on the air. It was the foundation for a lot of how Philly blew up. And that's the difference between a Panoramic and a North Star. You know, like if you want to look, especially because I went to Central High School, so it's like Panoramic was more like the Central High to the to like, I don't know, I'm gonna say MLK, and I'm only gonna say MLK because Riv went there, so so that's also that type of shout out. So Panoramic would be like the equivalent, like the folks coming in were like the white blazers, and and a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it was like more clean and upright citizens brigade. Where someplace like North Star was a lot more, let loose. So,
Okay.
though the crazy thing is, I think almost everybody that we did poetry with at Panoramic then went on to be involved in the community and do that type of community work.
Yeah,
That's what was there,
without a doubt, everybody I know, I can point to, if they weren't doing some kind of activist work, they went on to do
Right.
activist work. And they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of things. I mean, poetry was a lot of things to us in the 90s. But for us who, it feels weird to say this, but for us who laid the foundation in Philly at that time period, or who was doing poetry at that time period, it was a lot of things, but it wasn't a hustle.
Right. Everybody was doing like the chapbooks,
Yeah.
which is cute and fun. I feel like I may have been one of the first people to be like, I'm gonna do like a book.
Right.
When I did my first book, and it was like, like the chapbooks are cool, but I just like I want to say more. I just want to be a little bigger, and part of doing my first book was poetry about hip hop, because that was my environment, and to be able to like to do that combination was just like, that was really important to me. And Panoramic was like, to be in Panoramic was like, in the Panoramic poetry book was such an honor, because that was the first place where I could be like, I don't know, I guess in a more formal poetry environment. Like we'd been doing the little house poetry readings forever, like in somebody's living room or whatever, and then like this Panoramic, part of October Gallery, and and knowing about October Gallery, it's this Black art gallery, so that's prestigious. Also, it's like so all these creatives are coming together in this space. It's like, oh wow, like I'm part of this really larger community. Also, and it felt like it still had the family vibe of when we were in living rooms, but we're in an art gallery now. It was just cool, and we weren't thinking about money. We weren't thinking about like some type of come up. It was just, ooh, we're fancy because we're in an art gallery and we're sharing our poetry.
Right, it was very cool. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Light right here on Philadelphia 106.5 FM WPPM, and My name is Raymond Tyler. I'm here with Naila, and believe it or not, somebody texted me to say that they were listening to the show and they wanted to drop by. So
Oh, yay!
so here's what I'm gonna do. It's still your hour, so here's what I'm
No,
gonna
like
do.
whoever, if you're listening and you're a poet and you were at Pandora, I know I'm taking over Raymond show. If you like, come hang out. You know, like y'all don't want to hear me talk for 2 hours. Come hang out.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put on a song, and I'm gonna go let them in.
Okay.
Do you like jazz, or how do you feel?